The emergency alarm echoed through the corridors of Galactic Council, headquarters on Centauri Prime. Ambassador Zex Thill of the Altarian Republic rushed through the gleaming halls, his blue skin pale with worry. 3 days ago, the most feared empire in the galaxy had simply vanished. The Draconian Empire was gone, not defeated in battle, not destroyed by some cosmic disaster. Gone. 10,000 warships, billions of soldiers, entire star systems with their populations, all disappeared without a single distress signal or weapon discharge detected anywhere in the Galaxy. Commander Lisa Stone received the priority transmission while reviewing supply reports aboard Earth's orbital defense station. The message was brief but urgent. Admiral Frank Murphy's weathered face appeared on her screen, his expression grim. Lisa, we have a situation. The Galactic Council is calling an emergency session. Every member species has been summoned to explain what they know about the Draconian disappearance. Earth is specifically requested to attend. Lisa felt a cold weight settle in her stomach. Earth had only joined the galactic community 18 months ago. They were still the newcomers, still proving themselves worthy of membership among the ancient civilizations that ruled the stars. Why would the Council specifically want Earth's input on something this massive? Admiral, we barely have any contact with Draconian space. Our trade routes don't even extend that far into the spiral arm. Murphy's eyes darkened. That's exactly what makes this concerning, Commander. The timing is suspicious. The Draconians were expanding toward our sector when they vanished. Some council members are asking uncomfortable questions. 3 hours. Later, Lisa found herself in a secure briefing room with Captain Jake Harrison, Earth's lead diplomatic representative. Jake was a calm man with steady gray eyes and the kind of quiet confidence that made aliens trust him. Next to him sat Dr. Richard Blake, Earth's chief xenobiologist, nervously adjusting his glasses as he reviewed classified reports. The situation is worse than we initially thought, Dr. Blake said, spreading holographic displays across the table. These are the last known positions of Draconian fleets before they disappeared. Look at the trajectory. The star map showed a clear pattern. Draconian forces had been moving steadily toward the outer rim of the galaxy, directly toward human space. Their advanced scouts had been probing the edges of Earth's small territory for weeks before the disappearance. Jake studied the data carefully. This doesn't look random. They were preparing something. Invasion, Lisa said flatly. Classic Draconian expansion pattern. They were planning to hit us before we could establish stronger defenses. Dr. Blake pulled up another display showing energy signatures detected throughout former Draconian territory. Here's what's really disturbing. Every world, every ship, every space station, completely intact. No signs of battle, no weapon residue, no debris fields. The infrastructure is perfect. The people are just gone. Lieutenant Amy Parker, Jake's aide, entered the briefing room with additional reports. Her usually composed demeanor showed cracks of concern. Sir, I've been monitoring galactic communication networks. The other species are scared. Some are pointing fingers at each other, but there's something else. She activated a new holographic display showing intercepted alien communications. Several of the older species, the Etherians, the Vegan Collective, some others, they're not acting. Surprised. It's like they were expecting something like this to happen. Jake frowned. Expecting it how? The Etherian ambassador made a comment about ancient warnings and silent death from the outer rim. The vegans have been quietly reinforcing their border defenses for months. It's almost like they knew someone or something was capable of making entire civilizations vanish. Lisa felt that cold weight in her stomach grow heavier. Earth was located on the outer rim of the galaxy. If ancient legends spoke of something dangerous coming from that direction, suspicion would naturally fall on humanity. Dr. Blake was reading through classified xenological reports when his face went pale. There's something else I've been reviewing. Our first contact protocols with various species. Several alien governments asked very specific questions about Earth's military capabilities during initial negotiations. Questions about theoretical weapons research, exotic physics programs, things that seemed oddly detailed for casual diplomatic inquiry. What kind of questions? Jake asked. Questions about dimensional manipulation, consciousness targeting systems, quantum field disruption technology. At the time, our negotiators assumed they were just being thorough. Now I'm wondering if they were looking for something specific. The briefing room fell silent as the implications sank in. Lieutenant Parker broke the quiet with another disturbing report. There's more. I've been tracking the timeline of when different species joined the galactic community. Earth is the newest member, but several older civilizations have been quietly preparing for something they call the test. Apparently, when any new species reaches a certain level of technological advancement, the galaxy watches to see how they'll use their power. Admiral Murphy's voice crackled through the communication system. All personnel, prepare for priority briefing with Planetary Command. Classification level Ultra. Lisa had never heard of Ultra classification. In her 15 years of military service, the highest security level she'd encountered was top secret. Ultra meant something so sensitive that even knowing it existed was dangerous. Jake gathered the reports and sealed them in a quantum-encrypted case. We need to prepare for the council session. Earth's reputation in the galactic community depends on how we handle this. As they prepared to leave, Dr. Blake made one final observation that chilled everyone in the room. I've been analyzing the quantum signatures detected in former Draconian space. The energy patterns are unlike anything in our xenophysics databases. But there's something familiar about the mathematical models underlying the readings. Familiar. How? Lisa asked. A match theoretical frameworks developed by Earth scientists 20 years ago. Research that was classified so deeply that most people don't even know it existed. The group exchanged worried glances. If Earth's theoretical research somehow matched the signatures of whatever made the Draconians disappear, the implications were terrifying. Meanwhile, on Earth, President Helen Rodriguez sat in the Oval Office, reviewing a file marked with symbols that most government officials had never seen. The file contained a single word: nightfall. She closed the file and activated a secure communication link to Colonel Tony Martinez, head of Earth's most classified operations division. Colonel, we have a problem. A galactic community is asking questions about the Draconian disappearance. I need you to implement Protocol 7 immediately. Understood, Madam President. All traces will be eliminated within 48 hours. Good. And Colonel, if anyone asks about theoretical weapons research from the Hayes program, that research never existed. Dr. William Hayes died in a shuttle accident, and his work was purely academic. Copy that, Mom. The past will remain buried. As President Rodriguez ended the call, she looked out at the stars visible through the office windows. Somewhere out there, the galactic community was searching for answers about the most powerful empire in known space, simply ceasing to exist. Earth held those answers, but sharing them would change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. Some secrets were too dangerous to reveal, even to save their reputation among the stars. The great assembly hall of Centauri Prime had never seen such tension. Representatives from 47 different species filled the massive chamber, their various forms creating a strange mix of colors, shapes, and sizes. The air hummed with translators working overtime to convert dozens of alien languages into understandable speech. Captain Jake Harrison sat in the human delegation section, feeling the weight of countless alien eyes upon him. To his left, Dr. Richard Blake nervously reviewed his notes, while Commander Lisa Stone maintained her military composure despite the obvious stress. The human section seemed small and isolated compared to the ancient civilizations surrounding them. High Chancellor Vorthik of the Hegemony called the emergency session to order. His deep voice resonated through the chamber as various alien delegates settled into their seats. The Chancellor's four arms gestured toward the central display screen, which showed the last known positions of Draconian forces. Fellow beings of the galaxy, we face an unprecedented crisis. The Draconian Empire, which has existed for over 3 centuries, has completely vanished from known space. No distress signals, no battle signatures, no trace of their passing. We are here to determine what happened and who might be responsible. The first to speak was Ambassador Quellix of the Zephyrian Confederacy. His tall, insect-like frame clicked as he approached the speaking platform. Honored delegates, our deep space sensors recorded the final Draconian transmissions. The last signals came from the outer spiral arm, dangerously close to the territory claimed by our newest members. Quellix turned his multifaceted eyes toward the human section. The proximity to human space cannot be ignored. Perhaps our young friends observed something that older civilizations missed. Jake felt his heart rate increase as murmurs spread through the assembly. Dr. Blake leaned over and whispered, "They're already pointing fingers at us." The next speaker was Captain Thane of the militant Korthic Empire. His warrior species had been rivals with the Draconians for generations. The humans are too primitive to eliminate the Draconians. This was clearly the work of the Korthics. We simply grew tired of their expansion and dealt with them efficiently. Several delegates laughed at this boast, knowing the Korthics lacked the technology for such a complete elimination. High Chancellor Vorthik gestured for silence that Ambassador Zira of the Aquatic Nereid Collective approached the platform next. Her water suit made soft bubbling sounds as she spoke. "We have analyzed the quantum signatures throughout former Draconian space. The energy patterns suggest something beyond conventional warfare. This appears to be the work of technology that manipulates the fundamental nature of existence itself." Commander Stone shifted uncomfortably in her seat. The description was uncomfortably close to theoretical research she had heard whispered about in Earth's most classified facilities. Professor Kithmer of the ancient Etherian race slowly rose from his section. The crystalline being's form glowed softly as he spoke in his melodic voice. "Young species often dismiss the old stories as myth, but we Etherians remember the legends of the Void Walkers, beings capable of erasing entire civilizations from reality without leaving a trace." The chamber fell silent. Even the militant Korthics looked nervous at the mention of the old legends. The patterns we see today match ancient warnings passed down through generations. Something from the dark spaces between stars has awakened, and it hungers for the elimination of those who threaten the balance of the galaxy. Jake realized this was his moment to speak. He stood and requested permission to address the assembly. High Chancellor Vorthik nodded, and Jake walked to the central platform. "Honored delegates, Earth appreciates being included in this important discussion. However, humanity must state clearly that we know nothing about the Draconian disappearance. Our species has been part of the galactic community for less than 2 years. Our technology is primitive compared to most civilizations here." Jake paused, meeting the eyes of various alien representatives. "Earth offers complete cooperation with any investigation. We will open our databases, provide access to our research facilities, and share any information that might help solve this mystery." As Jake returned to his seat, he noticed something troubling. Several of the older species were exchanging glances that suggested they knew more than they were sharing. The look in their eyes was not confusion or curiosity. It was fear. After the formal session ended, Dr. Elena Rodriguez, Earth's chief scientist, found herself approached by Professor Kithmer in one of the corridor areas. "The ancient Etherians," Crystalline features seemed troubled as he spoke in quiet tones. Dr. Rodriguez, your species is young, but not naive. There are things about this galaxy that the Council does not discuss openly. Forces that have shaped civilizations for millions of years. Elena listened carefully as the professor continued. The legends speak of a power that emerges when the galaxy faces existential threats, something that eliminates dangerous civilizations before they can spread their destruction to innocent worlds. What kind of power? Elena asked. The kind that makes entire species vanish without a trace. The kind that operates from the shadows and leaves no evidence of its passing. Your people come from the Outer Rim, the same region where ancient warnings suggest this force originates. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. Professor, are you suggesting that Earth is somehow connected to these old legends? The Etherians. Crystalline form pulsed with soft light. I am suggesting that young species often possess capabilities they do not fully understand. Sometimes the most dangerous beings in the galaxy are those who convince themselves they are acting in self-defense. Meanwhile, in a secure facility deep beneath the Nevada desert, Colonel Tony Martinez oversaw the systematic destruction of research equipment that had taken decades to develop. Plasma charges vaporized laboratory after laboratory as technicians worked to eliminate every trace of Project Nightfall. Sir, a European facility is ready for demolition, reported Major Ken Davis, Martinez's second-in-command. Proceed with the operation. Nothing can remain that connects Earth to the theoretical research conducted under Dr. Hayes. As the underground facility was reduced to molten rock, Martinez activated a communication link to a hidden base on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. Command to Europa Base. Initiate Protocol 7. All research materials, personnel records, and equipment specifications are to be eliminated immediately. The voice that responded was cold and professional. Understood, Command. The Hayes program never existed. All traces are being erased from history. Martinez watched as the final laboratory exploded in a brilliant flash of plasma fire. 20 years of the most advanced weapons research in human history was being erased to protect a secret that could destroy Earth's reputation in the galactic community. Back on Centauri Prime, Captain Jake Harrison received an encrypted message from Admiral Murphy. The communication was brief but concerning. Galactic intelligence services are beginning their own investigation. Multiple species are quietly mobilizing their fleets. Earth's window of opportunity to control this narrative is closing rapidly. Jake looked out at the alien starships visible through the station's observation windows. Some of those vessels belonged to species that had seemed friendly during first contact negotiations. Now he wondered how many of them suspected Earth's involvement in the greatest mystery the galaxy had ever faced. As the emergency session concluded, delegates from various species formed small groups to discuss their suspicions privately. The human delegation found themselves increasingly isolated as whispered conversations took place in languages their translators could not decipher. Dr. Blake made a disturbing observation as they prepared to return to Earth. Jake, did you notice a pattern in how different species reacted to our statements? The newer civilizations seem to believe us, but every species that has been part of the galactic community for more than 1,000 years acted like they were waiting for us to admit something. Commander Stone nodded grimly. It's like they already know the answer, and they're just waiting to see if we'll tell the truth. The human delegation departed Centauri Prime with more questions than answers. Somewhere in the dark spaces of the galaxy, the most powerful empire in known history had simply ceased to exist. And somehow, every instinct told them that Earth was connected to that disappearance in ways they were only beginning to understand. 3 weeks after the emergency council session, joint investigation teams were formed to explore the empty worlds of former Draconian space. Commander Lisa Stone found herself leading the human contingent aboard the research vessel Discovery, working alongside investigators from 12 different alien species. The mixed crew was an unusual sight. Dr. Nathan Cross, a quiet physicist specializing in exotic matter research, worked at stations next to Captain Threx of the Warrior Mandorian. Race. Lieutenant Kelly White, an intelligence officer with mysterious credentials, shared data with Dr. Sylvana, a brilliant Altarian scientist known throughout the galaxy for her work on dimensional physics. Their first destination was Draconis Prime, the former capital world of the Draconian Empire. As the Discovery dropped out of hyperspace, the crew stared in amazement at what they found. The planet looked completely normal from orbit. Cities glowed with active power grids. Transportation networks showed normal traffic patterns, and all. Technology appeared to be functioning perfectly. "Life sign readings?" Commander Stone asked from the captain's chair. "Lieutenant." White checked her sensors twice before responding. "Zero organic life detected planet-wide. No mammals, no insects. No bacteria, nothing. But all the infrastructure is operating as if the population just stepped out for lunch." Dr. Cross studied his exotic matter readings with growing concern. The quantum signature patterns he was detecting matched theoretical models he had worked on years ago during classified research at Titan Station. He kept this observation to himself, but his nervous behavior did not go unnoticed by Lieutenant White. The landing party consisted of 6 beings, 3 humans and 3 aliens. They materialized on the main plaza of the Draconian capital city to find a scene that would haunt their dreams for years to come. The city was pristine and functioning, but completely empty of life. Captain Threx examined abandoned guard posts where Draconian soldiers had simply vanished mid-duty. Their weapons are still powered and ready. Food is fresh on tables. Some computer terminals show active conversations that stopped mid-sentence. Dr. Sylvana used her advanced scanning equipment to analyze the quantum residue left throughout the city. Whatever happened here occurred simultaneously across the entire planet. Every living being ceased to exist at exactly the same moment in time. As they explored deeper into the city, Dr. Cross became increasingly agitated. The energy signatures he was detecting were not just similar to his old research, they were identical. The mathematical equations underlying the quantum field disruptions matched formulas he had helped develop during Earth's most classified weapons program. Lieutenant White noticed his distress during their investigation of this central government complex. "Dr. Cross, are you feeling well? You seem nervous." "I'm fine," Nathan replied quickly. "It's just disturbing to see an entire civilization vanish without explanation." But Kelly White was trained to read people, and something in Nathan's voice suggested he was hiding important information. She made a mental note to monitor his behavior more closely. Their investigation continued for days, moving from world to world throughout former Draconian territory. Each planet told the same impossible story: perfect preservation of infrastructure with complete elimination of all organic life. No weapon signatures, no radiation, no signs of struggle or panic. The populations had simply stopped existing. On the 4th world they investigated, Dr. Cross finally cracked under the psychological pressure. During a private moment with Commander Stone in the Discovery's observation lounge, he revealed what had been eating at him. "Lisa, I need to tell you something that could change everything we think we know about this investigation." Stone studied her colleague's troubled expression. "What is it, Nathan?" "The quantum signatures we're detecting throughout Draconian space. They match research I conducted 20 years ago as part of a classified Earth program. Not similar patterns, exact matches down to the mathematical constants." Commander Stone felt her blood turn cold. "What kind of research?" "Theoretical work on consciousness manipulation through quantum field disruption." We were exploring whether it was possible to target the quantum connections that link living minds to physical reality. The theory suggested that consciousness existed partially outside normal space-time, and that disrupting those connections could theoretically make sapient beings cease to exist while leaving everything else untouched. The implication was staggering. Dr. Cross was describing exactly what they had found throughout former Draconian space, a weapon that could eliminate living beings while leaving their technology and infrastructure completely intact. Stone immediately contacted Admiral Murphy through encrypted channels. The conversation that followed would change the course of human history. "Admiral, we have a situation. Dr. Cross has identified the quantum signatures we're finding as matching classified Earth research from 20 years ago." Murphy's face appeared on the secure communication screen, his expression grave. "Lisa, what I'm about to tell you is classified at the highest possible level. Project Nightfall was real, and it was tested once." Stone felt the deck seem to shift beneath her feet. Tested how? 50 years ago, when Earth first detected alien signals, we knew contact was inevitable. A team of scientists led by Dr. William Hayes developed a theoretical weapon system based on consciousness targeting technology. The weapon was designed to eliminate hostile aliens while leaving their technology intact for study. Murphy paused, clearly struggling with the weight of what he was revealing. The system was tested on a small asteroid colony of aggressive aliens who had threatened Earth before first contact protocols were established. The results were successful, but so horrifying that the project was immediately classified beyond top secret, and all records were ordered destroyed. "But the Draconians," Stone began. "The Draconians were preparing to invade human space. Their advanced fleets had been probing our defenses for months. President Rodriguez was faced with an impossible choice: reveal the existence of our weapons, program and face galactic condemnation, or watch Earth be conquered by one of the most ruthless empires in known space." Lieutenant White, who had been monitoring communications as part of her intelligence duties, overheard portions of this conversation. Her training told her that she was learning about events that could destabilize the entire galactic political structure. Meanwhile, on Earth, President Rodriguez convened an emergency meeting with the Joint Chiefs of Staff. General Carl Davis presented intelligence reports showing that several alien governments were quietly mobilizing their military forces. "Madam President, our intelligence suggests that multiple species suspect human involvement in the Draconian disappearance. The Korthek Empire has moved 3 battle fleets to positions near human space. The Etherians are conducting what they call deep scanning operations along our borders." Admiral Murphy, participating via secure link from the Discovery, added his concerns. "The investigation team is finding evidence that directly connects to our old research programs. Dr. Cross recognized the quantum signatures, and Lieutenant White is trained to detect when people are hiding information." The meeting was interrupted by Dr. Patricia Lee, director of the Aurora Project, and one of the few people on Earth who knew the full truth about Project Nightfall. She brought news that chilled everyone in the room. Long-range sensors had detected massive energy signatures moving through dark space beyond the galactic rim. The patterns match theoretical models for dimensional phase transitions, the same technology underlying the Nightfall system. President Rodriguez leaned forward in her chair. "What are you saying, Dr. Lee?" "I'm saying that whatever we did to the Draconians might not have been permanent. The energy signatures suggest that displaced matter can potentially find a way back to normal space-time. If the Draconians still exist in a parallel dimensional phase, they might be trying to return." The room fell silent as the implications became clear. Earth had not destroyed the Draconian Empire. They had displaced it to another dimension. And if the Draconians found a way back, they would return with knowledge of exactly who had sent them there General Davis was the first to speak. If the Draconians return and reveal what happened to them, every species in the galaxy will know that Earth possesses weapons capable of eliminating entire civilizations. Worse than that, Doctor, Lee added grimly. They'll know we're willing to use those weapons when we feel threatened. As the meeting concluded, President Rodriguez made a decision that would define humanity's future in the galactic community. We continue the cover-up for now, but we also begin preparation for the possibility that our secret will be exposed. If the truth comes out, Earth needs to be ready to defend our actions to a galaxy that suddenly sees us as the most dangerous species in known space. The investigation continued in former Draconian territory, but now Commander Stone, Dr. Cross, and Lieutenant White carried the burden of knowing that their species held the answers to the greatest mystery in galactic history. The question was no longer what happened to the Draconians. It was what would happen to humanity when the truth finally emerged. Dr. Nathan Cross could no longer sleep. Every night aboard the Discovery, he stared at the ceiling of his quarters while images of empty Draconian worlds played through his mind. The quantum signatures they were finding matched his old research so perfectly that he felt like he was looking at his own fingerprints at a crime scene. The investigation team had spent 2 weeks exploring abandoned planets, and each world told the same impossible story. Perfect cities with no people, functioning technology with no operators, meals left half-eaten on tables where families had simply ceased to exist. The weapon Nathan had helped design 20 years ago was clearly responsible for the greatest act of genocide in galactic history. During their exploration of the industrial world of Draconis 7, Nathan finally reached his breaking point. While examining a factory where Draconian workers had vanished mid-shift, he approached Commander Lisa Stone in private. Lisa, I can't keep this secret anymore. The quantum field equations we're detecting are identical to formulas I developed during classified research at Titan Station. Not just similar, exactly the same down to the smallest decimal points. Stone looked around to make sure they were alone before responding. Nathan, what exactly are you telling me? I'm telling you that Earth is responsible for what happened to the Draconians. The weapon system we're seeing the effects of, it's based on research I personally conducted for a program called Project Nightfall. The weight of this revelation hit Stone like a physical blow. She immediately contacted Admiral Frank Murphy through the most secure communication channels available. The conversation that followed would change everything. Murphy's face appeared on the encrypted screen, his expression showing the strain of carrying impossible secrets. Lisa, I've been waiting for this call. Dr. Cross has recognized the signature. Patterns, hasn't he? He says the quantum equations matches old research exactly. Admiral, what the hell is Project Nightfall? Murphy was quiet for a long moment before responding. Project Nightfall was humanity's first and most classified weapons program. 50 years ago, when we detected the first alien signals, the government created a secret research division to develop defenses against potential hostile contact. Stone felt her world shifting as Murphy continued. Dr. William Hayes led a team of the most brilliant physicists on Earth. They discovered that consciousness exists partially outside normal space-time dimensions. By targeting the quantum fields that connect living minds to physical reality, they could theoretically make sapient beings simply stop existing while leaving everything else untouched. But that would be genocide on an unimaginable scale, Stone said. Yes, it would. The weapon was tested only once, on a small colony of hostile aliens who had threatened Earth before official first contact was established. The results were so complete and so terrifying that President Shun immediately ordered the project destroyed and all records eliminated. Stone's mind raced with the implications. But the Draconians were eliminated using this technology. Murphy nodded grimly. The Draconian Empire was preparing to invade human space. Their advance fleets had been conducting reconnaissance missions along our borders for months. Intelligence indicated they were planning a full-scale conquest of Earth within 6 months. So President Rodriguez authorized the use of the Nightfall weapon. She was given an impossible choice, Lisa. Allow Earth to be conquered by one of the most ruthless empires in the galaxy, or use a weapon that would eliminate the threat completely. The decision was made by a council of 12 individuals who carried the burden of that choice. Lieutenant Kelly White had been monitoring communication traffic as part of her intelligence duties when she detected the encrypted conversation between Stone and Murphy. Her training told her that she was witnessing the revelation of information that could destabilize galactic civilization. Kelly was not actually a simple intelligence officer. She was Colonel Tony Martinez's most trusted operative, planted on the investigation team to monitor for exactly this kind of security breach. Her real mission was to ensure that no information about Project Nightfall reached alien ears. After the conversation ended, Kelly approached Commander Stone directly. "Commander, we need to talk privately about what you just learned." Stone was surprised by Kelly's directness. "What do you mean?" "I mean that I know you just received classified information about Project Nightfall, and my job is to make sure that information doesn't spread beyond authorized personnel." Kelly revealed her true identity and explained that she was part of a containment team tasked with protecting Earth's most dangerous secret. "Commander, Dr. Cross, and anyone else who learns about Nightfall are now under special security protocols. The survival of our species depends on keeping this information contained." Meanwhile, on Earth, President Helen Rodriguez faced the most difficult decision of her presidency. Intelligence reports indicated that several alien species were independently reaching conclusions about human involvement in the Draconian disappearance. General Carl Davis presented the latest intelligence during an emergency cabinet meeting. "Madam President, the Etherians have been conducting deep space scans of the quantum field disruptions throughout former Draconian territory. Their technology is advanced enough to trace the source signatures." "How long before they identify Earth as the origin point?" President Rodriguez asked. "Our analysts estimate 2 weeks, maybe less. The Etherians have been studying dimensional physics for millions of years. They'll eventually trace the quantum pattern back to our sector of space." Dr. Patricia Lay, director of the Aurora Project, added even more disturbing news. "The energy signatures we detected beyond the galactic rim are growing stronger. If the Draconians were displaced to a parallel dimension rather than destroyed, they may be finding ways to send signals back to normal space." Admiral Murphy participated in the meeting via secure link from the Discovery. "The investigation team is finding evidence that any competent physicist would recognize as artificial. Dr. Cross has already identified the signatures, and Lieutenant White reports that the alien scientists are asking increasingly specific questions about theoretical weapons research." President Rodriguez stood and walked to the window overlooking the Rose Garden. "If our secret is exposed, how will the galactic community respond?" "Badly," General Davis replied. "Some species will see us as protectors who eliminated a galactic threat. Others will view us as monsters capable of genocide. The militant species like the Corthix will probably demand our immediate expulsion from the galactic community." "Worse than that," Dr. Lee added, "they'll demand access to our weapons technology. Every empire in the galaxy will want the power to eliminate their enemies without leaving evidence." The meeting was interrupted by an urgent communication from Deep Space Monitoring Stations. Captain Ryan Clark, commander of the Outer Rim Detection Network, appeared on screen with news that sent chills through everyone present. "Madam President, we're detecting structured signals from beyond the galactic edge. The transmissions are using Draconian military communication protocols." The room fell silent. If the Draconians were somehow alive in parallel space and attempting to communicate, They might be trying to warn the galaxy about what Earth had done to them. There's more, Captain Clark continued. The signals appear to be directed toward the home worlds of major galactic powers. If the Draconians are sending messages about their displacement, every species in the galaxy will soon know that Earth possesses weapons capable of eliminating entire civilizations. President Rodriguez made a decision that would define humanity's future. We have perhaps days before our secret is exposed. Begin immediate preparation for a full revelation to the Galactic Council. If we're going to be exposed anyway, it's better that the truth comes from us rather than from our victims. General Davis looked concerned. Madam President, revealing our capabilities voluntarily will fundamentally change Earth's position in galactic politics. Every species will see us differently. They're going to see us differently anyway, General. The question is whether they see us as honest beings who made a terrible choice to protect ourselves, or as liars who committed genocide and tried to cover it up. Dr. Lee raised another concern. If we reveal the truth about Project Nightfall, other species will demand that we share the technology or prove that we've destroyed it completely. Then we'll face that challenge when it comes. Right now, our priority is controlling the narrative before someone else controls it for us. Back aboard the Discovery, the investigation team was making final preparations to return to Centauri. Prime with their findings, Dr. Cross, Commander Stone, and Lieutenant White now carried the burden of knowing that their species was responsible for the greatest mystery in galactic history. As they prepared their report for the Galactic Council, each of them wondered what would happen when the truth finally emerged. Earth had eliminated the most powerful empire in the galaxy to protect itself, but in doing so, they had revealed themselves to be potentially the most dangerous species among the stars. The investigation was ending, but the real crisis was just beginning. Soon, every civilization in the galaxy would know what humanity was truly capable of when threatened. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike anything in recorded history. Representatives from 47 species filled the Great Assembly Hall on Centauri Prime. But this time, the atmosphere was electric with tension and fear. Word had spread through diplomatic channels that humanity was about to make a revelation that would change everything. Captain Jake Harrison stood at the central speaking platform, his hands steady despite knowing that the next few minutes would determine Earth's fate among the stars. Behind him, the human delegation sat in tense silence while alien representatives watched with expressions ranging from curiosity to barely concealed hostility. High Chancellor Vorthik called for order as whispered conversations echoed through the chamber. The floor recognizes Captain Harrison of Earth, who has requested to address this emergency session with new information regarding the Draconian disappearance. Jake took a deep breath and began. Honored delegates, humanity comes before you today to reveal the truth about what happened to the Draconian Empire. This truth is difficult, but Earth believes in honest cooperation with our galactic neighbors. He paused as alien translators worked to convert his words into dozens of languages. 3 months ago, Earth's deep space sensors detected Draconian advance fleets moving toward human territory. Intelligence analysis indicated they were preparing for a full invasion of our worlds within 6 months. Murmurs spread through the assembly as species began to understand where this revelation was heading. Faced with the certainty of conquest by one of the galaxy's most aggressive empires, Earth's leadership made an impossible decision. We activated a defensive weapon system that had been developed decades ago as protection against hostile alien contact. The chamber erupted in shocked voices as the implications became clear. Ambassador Quillix of the Zephyrian Confederacy was the first to speak. Are you stating that Earth is responsible for the elimination of the entire Draconian Empire? Yes, Jake replied simply. Earth developed and deployed a weapon system based on quantum consciousness manipulation. The technology targets the quantum fields that connect living minds to physical reality, causing sapient beings to cease existing while leaving their technology and infrastructure intact. The reaction was immediate and chaotic. Captain Thane of the Korthek Empire roared his outrage while several peaceful species recoiled in horror. The ancient Etherian representative, Professor Kithmer, sat in stunned silence as his worst fears were confirmed. High Chancellor Vorthik demanded order. Captain Harrison, you are admitting that humanity committed genocide against billions of sapient beings. We are admitting that Earth defended itself against imminent invasion using the only means available to ensure our survival. The Draconian Empire was preparing to conquer and enslave our entire species. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, Earth's chief scientist, stood to provide additional information. Honored delegates, our analysis suggests that the Draconians were not destroyed, but displaced to a parallel dimensional space. Recent signals detected from beyond the galactic rim indicate they may still exist in that alternate reality. This revelation caused even more chaos in the assembly. The possibility that an entire displaced empire might find a way to return was terrifying to species across the galaxy. Ambassador Zira of the Nereid Collective asked a question that many were thinking. If Earth possesses weapons capable of eliminating entire civilizations, what guarantee do we have that you will not use them against other species? Jake had prepared for this question. Earth proposes immediate galactic oversight of our weapons programs. We will open all research facilities to international inspection and submit to monitoring systems that ensure our defensive capabilities are never used aggressively. The debate that followed lasted for hours. Species were divided along predictable lines. Those who had feared Draconian expansion quietly supported Earth's actions, while others were horrified by the implications of humanity's hidden capabilities. Captain Thane spoke for the militant faction. The humans have revealed themselves to be the most dangerous species in the galaxy. They must be expelled from the galactic community and their worlds quarantined until their weapons are destroyed. Professor Kithmer offered a different perspective. The ancient legends spoke of guardians who would emerge to protect the galaxy from existential threats. Perhaps humanity has fulfilled a role that was always destined to exist. Ambassador Zex Thiel of the peaceful Altarian Republic expressed the concerns of many moderate species. While we understand Earth's need for self-defense, the power to eliminate entire civilizations cannot be allowed to exist without strict controls. The session was interrupted by urgent news from deep space monitoring stations. Commander Lisa Stone, who had returned from the investigation mission, delivered a report that changed everything. Honored delegates, our long-range sensors have detected massive energy signatures approaching from beyond the galactic rim. The quantum patterns match displaced Draconian technology. The Empire appears to be attempting to return to normal space. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. If the Draconians were finding a way back from their dimensional exile, they would return with complete knowledge of what Earth had done to them and likely seek revenge against humanity. Dr. Patricia Lee provided additional technical analysis. The dimensional barriers between parallel space and normal reality are weakening. Our calculations suggest that displaced matter can potentially force its way back across the dimensional divide, given sufficient energy and time. President Helen Rodriguez, participating via secure communication link, addressed the assembly directly. A possibility of Draconian return changes our situation completely. Earth offers to work with any galactic coalition to develop defenses against this threat, but we will need the cooperation of all species to address this crisis. The debate continued for days as species struggled to balance their fear of Earth's weapons with their terror at the prospect of an angry Draconian empire returning for revenge. Eventually, a compromise was reached that would define humanity's place in galactic civilization. The Galactic Oversight Protocol was established with Earth's reluctant agreement. Human weapons research would be conducted under international supervision, with representatives from 12 major species maintaining permanent monitoring stations in Earth's solar system. Any use of consciousness-targeting weapons would require approval from a galactic tribunal. In exchange, Earth would lead a joint task force dedicated to monitoring dimensional boundaries and developing countermeasures against potential Draconian. Return. Admiral Frank Murphy was placed in command of this force, working with alien scientists to understand and prepare for threats from parallel space. Colonel Tony Martinez found himself operating under galactic oversight. His black operations programs now subject to alien inspection. The era of Earth's secret weapons development was over, replaced by transparent cooperation with species who remained simultaneously grateful and terrified of humanity's capabilities. 6 months after the revelation, Earth's position in the galaxy had fundamentally changed. Humanity was no longer seen as a young, harmless species learning to navigate galactic politics. They were recognized as potentially the most dangerous beings among the stars, but also as protectors willing to make impossible choices to preserve galactic stability. The monitoring stations orbiting Earth served as constant reminders that the galaxy was watching humanity's every move. Trade relationships became more cautious. Diplomatic negotiations carried new undertones of respect mixed with fear, and Earth found itself increasingly isolated despite its central role in galactic defense. In the final analysis, Earth had gained the power to protect itself and influence galactic events, but at the cost of the innocence and trust that comes with being underestimated. Humanity's darkest secret was now known throughout the galaxy, and the consequences of that knowledge would shape interstellar relations for generations to come. As Admiral Murphy established the dimensional monitoring network with his alien counterparts, he often wondered if Earth had made the right choice. They had saved themselves from Draconian conquest and gained a position of strength among galactic civilizations, but they had also revealed themselves to be capable of unimaginable destruction. The galaxy now knew that humans would go to any lengths to protect what they considered family, and that knowledge made every species in known space reconsider their relationship with Earth. Humanity had survived the crisis, but their future among the stars would forever be shaped by the terrible choice they had made in the darkness between dimensions.